So I've been wearing a Whoop strap for 5 years now, since July of 2019. And in today's video, I'm gonna do a deep dive in everything I've learned about Whoop in those 5 years, everything I've learned about myself in those 5 years, and answer the question, is Whoop something for you? Who's it for? And ultimately, would I start Whoop now in 2024? So yeah, this story goes back to the summer of 2019. I had broken this elbow in January of 2019. I was a mediocre mini tour professional golfer with some status in years past, trying to get my golf game back to a high level, all while maintaining a YouTube channel. And I stumbled upon Whoop as I was searching ways to kind of optimize myself for my golf game, but ultimately for the recovery of my arm. I came across Whoop because of a PGA Tour player named Scott Stallings. Then I dug a little bit deeper and saw a lot of CrossFitters that I was following in the sport were wearing a Whoop, and a lot of wrestlers that I really liked were wearing a Whoop. Yeah, I'm a mark. I love professional wrestling. So, July of 2019, I was flying to a charity event in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and I downloaded 3 Whoop podcasts because I've learned a little bit about Whoop and I wanted to learn some more. Scott Stallings, and then a couple with the wrestlers. And I was influenced. I listened to, I think, 2 of them, and then on my layover, I ordered a Whoop right then and there in the airport. And at that time in 2019, it wasn't like you ordered it and it shipped. They needed to get enough orders to create a fulfillment to ship it to you. So it probably was about 3 or so weeks until I got my Whoop strap. Then it's a couple days of calibration. Then we were good to go, kind of that mid to early August 5 years ago. And boy, did I learn a lot about myself. The first thing I learned, and it took me some months to adjust to this and learn from this, was I was living or dying by the result, by my recovery score, by my strain score, by my sleep score. I'm a golfer. Like, we get caught up in results very easily, and I was letting those results kind of get me high or get me low if they were good or bad. And the scores are great, but don't let them dictate too much mentally for you. I did a video in 2019 during a Swing Thought Tour event, just what I was learning about Whoop, because Whoop was something that was slowly integrating really well with golf. And I thought heart rate on the golf course, I thought all the data I would deep dive, so I was so wrong. Like, I thought all of this data would be something that I would study and really allow me to optimize, but it's not that deep. It was not that deep, and again, I learned that those first kind of, let's say, 3 months of using Whoop. I learned to kind of relax a little bit, judge myself less based on my results, but then pick and study and adapt and try new things and figure out what would allow me to sleep the best, train the best, and recover the best, because I was still trying to keep a professional golf career going. I was still a professional athlete. I was working very hard. I was newly married. We didn't have kids. I was solely focused on my golf game. Then a little thing called 2020 rolled around, and a worldwide pandemic just shut everything down. And I think it was like right before the pandemic, or kind of right after it started, like Whoop rolled out a respiratory piece of a firmware update. So it was like, it was able to track your respiratory rate. And with what was happening with COVID, the respiratory rate, that tracking was invaluable to make sure you were staying on top of your health as the world's health was falling apart. And that little advancement of the hardware, the firmware, and part of your subscription really made Whoop just like catapult into the stratosphere of like the best trackable, wearable fitness health thing you could find. And this happening was really cool, because that video I made had a referral link in it that you get, and people were signing up for Whoop, and it was just like accruing me years of free Whoop. So it was like I got my free month to test it out from an affiliate link, and I had accrued like 4 years of free Whoop from that video I made in 2019. So I was like, great, I'm really gonna dive deep into this. And maybe Whoop will notice me and pay attention to what I'm doing, and maybe we could work together. And, you know, careful what you wish for, because that dream essentially came true in late 2020. I got in touch with Whoop, And they were like, that video you made was amazing. And it's like, yeah, look at this. So Whoop, I actually was so fortunate to have 2.5 years of them being a sponsor of mine and a sponsor of this channel. We did a lot of really cool things. Whoop Live was happening on PGA Tour coverage, and I was able to integrate Whoop Live into some of my videos and dive deep into the data of Whoop wearing golfers. Like, it was a really cool 2 years. And in those 2 years, we went from the 3.0 to the 4.0. So yeah, 2021, the 4.0 comes out. It's a smaller strap, a slightly lighter, better battery life, better heart rate sensor, like just upgrades. Waterproof battery, because a lot of people would take a shower with their battery pack on and kill it. So they had a waterproof battery pack, and it just spoke to this subscription-based model that blew up because of the pandemic. Whoop was not resting on their laurels. They were continuing to advance and improve the product, and like the in-app experience just kept getting better and better and better. And like even your homepage, like your home profile just got better and better and better. Like you have levels, there's just gamifying. I mean, you can see I'm on a 1,724 day data streak. I have 1,818 recoveries. I'm not lying when I say it's 5 years, and I've been using it. I think there was like a three-day window where I went on a trip. We did a family vacation in 2019. I was like, don't worry about it. I've never done that again. Even if I'm on vacation, I want to see what's going on. So yeah, we're in 2021 in the 4.0, and then it's like, it just keeps advancing. And then we had the stress monitor come out, and the stress monitor, right as I was kind of hitting a plateau personally with Whoop, because the journal was becoming so good, but I was able to predict. I knew that a screen in bed wasn't good for me. I knew that alcohol wasn't good for recoveries. I knew that stretching was. Like, all the things that the journal was having me enter became very predictable. So I was hitting a little bit of a lull, but then the stress monitor came out. And to be able to monitor your stress levels in various situations, especially if you're a high performing person, be it business, school, sport, any athletics, like gaming, like you began to identify and learn how to monitor and control your stress, because they worked with Andrew Huberman. They created breath work, so it's like you could stimulate yourself in the app with the breath work. You could calm yourself down with the breath work. So the stress monitor was a huge advancement. Again, just speaks to a subscription-based model that continues to evolve versus just be like, okay, we're just going to give you new hardware, new straps. No, we're continuing to evolve the app and that whole experience and what you get out of being a member of Whoop. But then again, for me, I started to hit a little bit of a lull, and I kind of got to the point, like, I'm not playing professional golf anymore. I mean, when Jude was a newborn, checking our sleep and all that was really helpful, because any parents out there, the early parts of a kid is tough. And if you can do things and you can keep track of your sleep and try to keep yourself as healthy during it, as recovered during it, as fresh during it, it makes it a little bit easier, because it's very, very, very difficult. So that was really cool in the early parts of Jude's life. This is 2022. But then stress monitor, and then I hit a little bit of a lull. I'm like, my wife doesn't wear it anymore. She just isn't, it's not for her anymore. And for me, I was kind of getting there as well. But then muscular strain came. And I think that, again, is like, that is huge. That was a huge thing that Whoop, I felt, lacked on, because it was always tracking your cardiovascular strain, like how much your heart worked during the day, during an exercise, during sport, during anything. But there was limitations, because you could go do weightlifting or strength training and your strain was like 4, but you were tired, you worked really hard. But if you did that same workout simply cycling for 45 minutes, your strain 10. You're trying to gamify the strain and get as close, as high as you can relative to your recovery. But then if you do weights, if you do functional fitness, it's only tracking your heart. And your heart doesn't go very hard if you're doing Olympic lifting or just weight training strength. But then the strength trainer came out, and it's like, it's got all these workout programs in there from professional athletes, from professional fitness trainers. That was really cool. And now that I've kind of fully taken a step away from really pursuing golf in any regard, like I haven't pursued playing, but even I golf once a month, I've joined a CrossFit gym. And when I do a workout, yeah, your heart rate, it goes, but to be able to add the muscular load in there and the muscular strain gives you a much more accurate representation of your day strain, which then gives you a much more accurate representation of like what kind of sleep you need, and then your recovery scores. Like, the muscular strain to me is huge, and it's keeping me on Whoop, because I was getting to a place where it's like, I figured it, not like I figured it out or figured myself out, but I'm not learning anything more about myself. And I'm not learning how to optimize myself. Whereas now, with muscular strain, I'm like, okay, I'm learning again. I feel new to this 5 years in, and that's really, really cool. And that's why I think in 2024, it's one of those things that could really allow someone to get a lot out of Whoop. That being said, in 2024 versus 2019, 2020, I personally don't think Whoop is for everybody the way that it was. So I think Whoop is certainly something that is amazing for elite performing people, and that's athletics, business, school, like healthcare. Like if you're like an elite performing, a high performing person, Whoop is something that will allow you to learn so much about yourself and get the most out of yourself kind of in all of the situations that your difficult day-to-day presents to you. And I think Whoop is incredibly important for mental health. I'm someone who openly suffers with depression. I have since I was a teenager. I've tried to take my life too many times to count, and I've spoken openly about it around the globe, online. Like, I'm not shy about it. Whoop has allowed me to have more patience with myself, grace with myself, less judgment, and learn about what allows me to tick. Because sleep is so good for the brain, so important for the brain, and then the body. And Whoop allows me to track my sleep, pay attention to my sleep, pay attention to what kind of like meditation or mindfulness or eating habits or alcohol that I consume to get the most out of my brain, because I need to keep my brain shored up because it's the top of my pyramid. And that's where I think Whoop is underrated in that regard. And it's not really marketed too much in that regard. They've done things for mental health over the years and they've highlighted it. But Whoop, when it comes to physical health, it's unmatched in tracking that. But for your mental health, it's a very, very good tracker, because so goes the mind, so goes the body. So would I get a Whoop in 2024? When I was preparing this video like a few months ago, like thinking like, oh, I could do a 5-year Whoop video, I was kind of like, I don't know if it's for me anymore. Now, with joining a CrossFit gym and really tracking my muscular strain and muscular load and learning how to sleep better, recover better as a result of that, because my strain, my day strain is more accurately represented now, yeah, I think I would get on Whoop. I would. Because I still think, as much as I said it's not for everybody, it's for kind of high performing, I'm a stay-at-home dad with a 3-year-old. My days are tough. My days are tough. It's a lot. Like, I'm trying to balance this, balance parenting, balance being a good husband, friend, being healthy, all of these things. This allows me to stay on top of it. So 5 years into Whoop, I still think it's a viable and valuable piece of my day-to-day, and I think it could be valuable or viable to a lot of people out there. And I'm excited for the future with Whoop, because with what I've seen and how they've advanced, and then working closely with them for 2 years as like a sponsored partner, and now we're on the other side of that, I'm still choosing to wear Whoop. I'm excited about what's next. I'm ready for a new strap, if I'm honest. It's been 3 years since the 4.0, so I'm excited if a new strap is coming. I'm excited, like, they're tracking body composition now. I don't have a scale for that, but that's a cool thing. Like, it's a subscription that they don't take for granted, and they continue to evolve, and they continue to press forward, and they still want to be the best fitness, health, trackable, wearable thing on the planet, and they are, and they aspire to stay there. So I think that's the exciting thing when it comes to should you go on Whoop. When you join Whoop, you know Whoop's not slowing down. They want to move forward as you move forward. So yeah, 5 years into Whoop, I would still highly recommend it like I did 5 years ago. Even a month into it, I'm still passionate about it. I'm still excited about it. I have my tan, my Whoop tan will never go away. I don't know when I'll stop wearing this, because it helps me. It genuinely helps me, even though I'm no longer a professional athlete that's trying to perform at the highest level. It helps me in my everyday life, and that is invaluable. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, let me know. Do you have a Whoop? Do you want a Whoop? Did you use Whoop? Let's have a little Whoop discussion down in the comments. And if you are on Whoop, you can join our team in the Whoop app, and we can kind of push each other there. So we'll see you in the next video.